Hello, and welcome to my channel, A Blind Woman Speaks, where I talk about disability awareness and inclusion from the perspective of a blind white woman. My name is Kelsey Waters, and this is my original content. Today's topic is a lot on my plate: how to help a blind person at any event involving food. Some of the most common social activities and events in our lives involve fellowship and food. Whether you're at a holiday family dinner, a picnic with friends, a party, or a church potluck, these all involve getting some good food. And for most people, filling your plate at such events is something you might take for granted. But have you ever wondered what this experience is like for a blind person? Well, pull up your chair and dig in, because I'm about to offer up a plate full of honesty, and I hope you have all your utensils. So, I'm sitting at a church potluck with a full plate in front of me: potatoes, potato salad, corn on the cob, and chicken. Sounds pretty good to most people, right? Well, sure, but there's one problem. I don't actually care for 3/4 of the food on my plate. So why do I have all this food on my plate that I don't care for? This happened because I was not given the opportunity to choose what I wanted. More often than not, somebody who thinks they are being helpful and is acting out of good intention offers to get a blind person our food. And if we politely state our preference to either get up and get it ourselves or ask to go through the line with them, they still insist and say, "Nope, stay put, I can get it." Maybe they assume that they're making life easier for us, or they just think that we will get in the way. Either way, this behavior is problematic for a couple of reasons. The first reason: the sighted person who offers to get my food because of me being blind is taking away my autonomy, both by telling me what to do rather than asking me what I need or how they can help, as well as by not offering me a choice of what I want to eat, but just instead guessing and putting random things on my plate. They don't take into consideration whether myself or any other blind person has any health issues, food allergies, food preferences, or otherwise dietary concerns. The second big problem is that the person is making assumptions that a blind person doesn't know what they need and cannot think for themselves. If I offer you the friendship and trust to say, "Could I walk up with you to get my plate?" after you have already initially assumed I can't do it, and you still don't hear me, there is a problem. And this leads to the third problem. When I tell you how to help me, and you still insist on doing it your own way and don't hear me, that not only is assuming that you know better than I do, but it can also break trust. Because how are you supposed to walk with me as a blind person when you won't even listen when I try to show you how? If you won't listen with something small like this, then how am I supposed to be confident that you can listen and understand me with something else? And finally, here's the fourth problem. It puts a damper on my joy. First, because I feel infantilized by somebody who told me what to do like a child, rather than allowing me to ask for help. And second, because I'm stuck picking at this plate full of food, 3/4 of which I don't care for. Now I have to be stuck in a situation of feeling rude because I'm going to waste most of this food, feeling like I don't want to be ungrateful or let my irritation show, and awkwardly considering whether there is a friend nearby so I can whisper into their ear, explain the situation, and if I'm lucky, get food that I can actually eat. So, with all of that, you might imagine how a blind person will have a lot on their plate at a potluck, figuratively speaking. Now, this incident that I shared with you happened when there were a lot of guests, and it doesn't happen as often in this setting because people have gotten to know me and are familiar with how I like to do things. However, I used it as an example because stuff like this happens all the time. So I'm not just picking on church, not just picking on family. This stuff happens in any setting that I am in where there are people who are not familiar. So let's talk about the other, more desirable way to help a blind person at a potluck or any event centered around food. So let's see you're at a potluck or picnic or something, and you see that there is somebody blind. And you're not very familiar with how to help a blind person, but you want to know if there's anything that you can do to help them get some food. So if you're wondering if they need help or how, the first and best thing to do is approach them, announce yourself, and ask. So let's say this is happening between myself, Kelsey, and just a random sighted person. We'll call them Joe. So, FYI, Kelsey doesn't always jump up right away when the food is ready because she doesn't feel the need to always be the first one to be served. So what Joe could say is, "Hey Kelsey, it looks like the food is ready. Would you like my help to get a plate?" I might either say, "No, I'm being helped, but thank you," or "Yes, please." Then Joe could ask, "How can I best help you?" Depending on personal preferences, some blind people like myself prefer to walk up with you through the line, whereas others may actually prefer to remain seated and have someone bring a plate. In the second scenario, if it was that I preferred to remain seated for any reason, then Joe could offer to let me know what the options are and then have me tell him what I want. Now here is how Joe can walk through the line with me. So first, he can offer to let me take his arm. So we do that. I hold his arm to do sighted guide up to the food, being mindful that we will be navigating tables, chairs, and crowds. Now, Joe doesn't have to be intimidated or afraid by helping me to navigate crowds because I am aware of this too, and I can go slowly and carefully. I will be extra cautious because I typically wouldn't bring my cane if it is a short distance to get my plate so that I have a free hand to hold my plate. When we reach the front of the line, Joe can check in and ask me if I would like to hold my plate. And if I do, then that gives Joe an opportunity to get his food at the same time. Then we can go through the options and I can tell Joe yes or no, a little bit or a lot. He could either go one by one or he could let me know all of the options and I could say what I want and don't want and how much. So he could say, okay, it looks like there's chicken, there are potatoes, potato salad, corn, fresh vegetables and fruit, and a green salad, and some dinner rolls. What would you like? And I could just tell him the options that I like. Now, if it's a potluck where there are 15 different dishes, then it might be easier and less overwhelming to go one by one. And if the plate gets full before you reach the end of the line, Joe could just let me know the remaining options that I don't have room for right now, and if there is dessert and if there's anything to drink. Then if I'm holding on to my plate, it is okay in this instance for Joe to take my arm Typically, doing proper sighted guide, I would take the sighted person's arm, but because my hand is full with the plate, it's okay, at least for me personally, if the other person will want to go ahead and take my arm and then guide me back to the table. So when we get to the table, Joe is not going to leave me in outer space, in open space. He will help me locate the table so I can set down my plate and then put my hand either on the table or the back of my chair. It would also be helpful for Joe to help me locate my napkins and silverware and drink. And then that's it. So, do you see how this is totally different than the first situation? Not only does it allow me my autonomy and avoid making assumptions, it's an act of love. It communicates to me that you care enough to take the extra time to make sure that I get what I need and have the same opportunity to enjoy the same food and fellowship as everyone else. And sometimes these little excursions of going up to get food together can be relationship building. I get to witness the hand of friendship and trust that you are extending to me, and you may learn a little bit of something about me too, besides the fact that I dislike potatoes but enjoy fresh fruit and veggies. So I know some of this initially may have been a hard bite to swallow, but I hope that it was helpful in some ways as well, to just understand that we have a lot on our plate in more ways than one. But you, yes, you, can be the one to make a difference, so that together we can eat a plate full of joy. I cannot wait to sit at this table with you again and to be nurtured in body and spirit by all the joys that food and fellowship bring, feeding the soul, quenching the thirst of the spirit, and even a dessert of sweetness and joy. Food and fellowship is a powerful thing, and I hope that I'm showing you here a way to do it in a way that is powerful and memorable and loving. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Please feel free to engage, comment, ask questions, and share. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if I can figure them out, but please like, comment, subscribe, share, engage. I really want to hear from you. So until next time, stay tuned for more videos from A Blind Woman Speaks.